Hey everybody, and welcome to another deep dive.
Excited to be here.
Today we're doing things a little differently.
A little local?
Yeah, we're getting local, focusing on a story from WFTV Channel 9.
Right here in Sanford.
Yeah, right here in Sanford, Florida.
Crazy story.
It is, and it involves a really tragic shooting.
Really tragic.
But what makes it so fascinating from a perspective of, our deep dives is that the whole thing was caught on video.
Oh, wow.
And not only caught on video, but it was also live streamed online.
That's wild.
I know. So we're going to really get into what happened, but also explore, those legal and ethical
implications.
Yeah, the implications of having, this kind of digital evidence.
Yeah, it's one thing when you have video evidence, which is already like, wow, you've got the receipts right.
Right.
But then when you have a potential live audience, that adds a whole other layer to it.
Absolutely.
In terms of like witnesses and, just the whole
really does.
legal process. So it's really, I think, interesting how that changes things.
Yeah, how technology's reshaping all this.
Okay.
So let's set the scene here, okay? Tuesday evening, about 7 p.m., and it takes place in a gated community, which I think adds another layer of like, whoa.
You don't expect that.
You don't expect it. Two women, Lauren Ashley Martin and Savon Chantay Tyler, get into a fight that unfortunately escalates.
Mm-hmm.
And tragically, the fight ends with Tyler allegedly shooting and killing Martin.
And you said this was in a gated community, like on a Tuesday night at 7 p.m.?
Yeah, like...
So not exactly where and when you think
not at all.
This kind of thing would happen.
You would think that would add a layer of security.
Right.
But, and to add to all of this, Tyler is facing some extremely serious charges. We're talking first-degree premeditated murder.
Wow.
So, for you and me, that might just sound like a legal term.
Right.
But we're potentially looking at, life in prison or even the death penalty here.
Yeah, and I think it's important to break that down, that premeditated, because legally speaking, premeditation means that the act was planned in advance. It wasn't like a spur of the moment.
A heat of the moment thing.
Exactly. Heat of the moment thing. And the article mentions something really crucial.
Okay.
Tyler allegedly placed the gun on a utility box before the fight even started.
Oh, wow.
Which is, pretty strong evidence for the prosecution to say,
yeah,
this was premeditated, like she planned this out.
And what's interesting is that they have all this on video.
They actually got that on video.
Yeah, WFTV Channel 9 actually obtained exclusive video footage of the entire incident. So we're talking about the fight, the escalation, the shooting, all caught on camera.
That's really rare.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times you're relying on eyewitness testimony, and we know.
Right, which can be unreliable.
Very unreliable.
Yeah.
So this is like...
It's like a blow-by-blow account that you can't dispute.
Exactly.
I can only imagine how chilling it must be to watch, too, because the article describes, one woman approaching the other with what looks like a kid's baseball bat. And then from there, it just escalates quickly.
Yeah. And, even that, the baseball bat...
Oh, yeah.
...brings in another whole legal thing to consider.
Like the self-defense angle.
The self-defense angle, exactly. Because now you have to think, well, what was the intent of both parties?
Right.
Was her approaching with a baseball bat considered a threat?
Right.
And if so, was the response justified?
What do you think? Does having visual evidence like this make it easier to sort all that out, do you think?
I think it gives you a clearer picture of what actually happened, right? It's like having a referee in a sporting event.
Yeah.
Like you can really see who initiated contact, who escalated the situation, and whether the use of deadly force was truly a last resort or
planned.
Yeah, or was it, had she already decided that's what she was going to do?
Right.
So I think it definitely adds a level of clarity.
And then, of course, there's the whole live streaming element, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And the article quotes a criminal attorney who points out that even the person who filmed the incident could potentially face criminal charges.
Seriously?
Yeah, maybe even first-degree murder.
Wow.
It's pretty serious stuff.
Yeah, that's crazy because it really brings up the question, like, when does observing and recording a crime make you complicit?
Yeah, where's that line?
Right, because the law really focuses on what was your level of involvement?
Right.
Were you just a bystander who happened to be filming? Were you actively encouraging? Were you participating?
Right.
Did you have a responsibility to intervene or call for help?
Right.
So all those things...
Kids muddy the water?
Yeah, totally. They really determine whether or not you are legally culpable.
So it's like in this day and age where everybody's got a smartphone, and social media, just being a witness and recording something could really land you in some hot water.
It's almost like a new level of accountability.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to document things
Yeah.
and to share them
Yeah.
that it's really blurred the lines
Yeah.
between observer and participant.
And the attorney goes on to say that if the person filming was like actively participating, they could be hit with the same charges as the shooter.
Oh, wow.
I know. So
So it's suggesting that filming itself
yeah,
isn't just passive,
right,
especially if you have a relationship
right,
with the people involved,
right.
or if you're saying things while you're filming.
Yeah, egging it on.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Then it becomes a form of aiding and abetting.
So we've got a really complicated situation here. We got personal conflict, the tragedy of the shooting, and then it's all captured and broadcasted live.
For the world to see.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like reality TV meets a courtroom drama.
It really is. It really highlights how human emotion and technology and the law
Are all intersecting.
are all coming together. And you really have to consider the consequences
Of your actions.
of your actions in a world where everything is, digitally connected.
Yeah, for sure.
And this is just part one of the story.
Of-
So it really raises a lot of questions about how we view violence and, our roles as bystanders in this age of constant documentation.
I can't wait to hear what happens next.
Okay, well, before we dive into that,
Okay.
I want to kind of let this sink in a little bit because having this video evidence
It's huge.
is huge, and how differently this might have played out without it.
Yeah, good point.
So think about that as we move forward.
It's really striking how this case really challenges how we understand crime and punishment.
How so?
Well, think about it, right?
Go.
Legal cases
Mm-hmm.
often hinge on witness statements, forensic evidence,
Right.
circumstantial clues. But here,
We got it all.
we have a video recording
Right.
of the entire event.
Yeah.
And that changes everything.
It's like having
An unbiased witness.
a fly on the wall
Yeah.
that captures every single detail.
Can't dispute it.
Right?
Yeah.
I can't even imagine trying to piece together
What happened without that video?
all the guesswork.
All the speculation
Yeah.
that often surrounds these types of cases, it's just
Gone.
gone.
Yeah.
But, even with video evidence, it's not always open and shut.
Oh, of course not. No.
It introduces new challenges.
Such as?
Well, ensuring the authenticity of the footage,
Right.
preventing any tampering
Oh, yeah.
or manipulation. You have to be absolutely certain that what you're seeing
Is real.
is the real deal.
Yeah. It's like a piece of evidence, at a crime scene.
Exactly.
Clean up, mess with that.
Exactly. Law enforcement has to be incredibly meticulous, documenting how the video was obtained,
Right.
stored, analyzed
Mm-hmm.
to ensure that it's admissible in court.
Right.
Any hint of tampering or manipulation could throw the whole case into question.
It's a lot of responsibility.
Huge responsibility.
Yeah.
And remember,
Yeah.
video only shows what's within the frame.
Right.
It doesn't capture.
What led up to it? The relationship.
Exactly. The relationships, any underlying motivations.
Yeah.
Imagine trying to understand a movie based on just one scene.
Right.
You would be missing so much context.
Yeah, it's like this. A high-definition snapshot
Yeah.
of a moment in time.
Exactly.
Incredibly detailed,
You got
but
it.
not
Not the whole story.
the whole story.
Right. And that's where the human element comes in.
Yeah.
Detectives, forensic analysts, legal professionals,
Mm-hmm.
they all need to come together
Right.
to interpret that video evidence,
Connect the dots.
connect it to other pieces of information,
Yeah.
build a comprehensive case.
So it's a puzzle.
It's like piecing together a complex puzzle.
Yeah.
So
the video is a tool,
a tool.
not the end-all be-all.
Exactly. It's not a substitute for thorough investigation
Yeah.
and legal analysis.
Really underscores how technology is changing things.
Totally.
I mean,
It's a game changer.
yeah.
Think about it, right? With smartphones and social media everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
almost anyone can become
A videographer.
a videographer, a witness, a participant
Mhm.
in criminal activity.
It's a whole new world.
It's a whole new world.
And it brings up
All
so many ethical and legal questions.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
I mean, are we
That we as a society are still trying to grapple with.
figuring all this out still?
Yes.
Yeah.
How do we balance the right to privacy
Mm-hmm.
with the need for public safety?
Right?
How do we ensure that video evidence is used responsibly and ethically?
Big questions.
Those are huge questions.
Yeah.
With no easy answers.
Oh, we got to figure it out.
But we have to address them head on,
Especially as the technology keeps changing.
especially as technology continues to evolve
Yeah.
and shape our world.
This case in Sanford's a good example.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's a stark reminder of just how important that is.
You know, and this all happened in a gated community.
Right. Which
makes you wonder.
does that add?
Does that make things even more complicated? Another layer of complexity to the case.
Yeah.
Because you think of gated communities as safe havens, places where residents feel secure and protected.
Right.
But this incident really challenges that perception.
Yeah.
Raises questions about
security measures, even in those
effectiveness of the security measures.
Yeah.
Even in environments that seem so controlled.
It's like this reminder that violence can happen anywhere.
Anywhere.
Regardless of your income, your perceived safety.
It really doesn't discriminate.
It doesn't.
No.
Yeah. That's a sobering thought.
And it's
But it's the reality.
the reality we live in.
That we live in. Yeah, crime can transcend boundaries.
Yeah.
No community is immune to its reach.
This case has so many layers.
So many.
It's a tragedy, but it's also
A fascinating case study.
yeah, how technology,
How
law enforcement, societal
so will intersect.
all come together.
It's a story that's going to continue to unfold as the legal proceedings progress.
Keep watching.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be watching closely to see what happens.
For sure. And if anyone wants to go deeper, we've got links to the news articles.
All that good stuff.
And all that.
In the show notes.
In the show notes.
Definitely check it out.
This has been a real eye-opener about how powerful video evidence is and the impact it has.
The impact it can have on legal proceedings.
Like, you know, we are all potential witnesses in this day and age.
We really are.
And our actions, even as observers, can have consequences.
Absolutely.
It really makes you think.
Yeah, it really underscores the need, I think, for ongoing dialogue.
Education about all this.
And education about these issues.
Yeah.
This is a conversation that has to
happen.
We keep going.
And this case in Sanford is a really stark reminder of why that's so important.
Couldn't agree more.
It's easy to get caught up in the legal and technological side of it, but
let's not forget.
At its heart,
this is a
human tragedy.
A human tragedy.
A life was lost.
Yeah.
Families were shattered.
A community is grappling.
Yeah.
With this senseless act of violence.
You know the victim, Lauren Ashley Martin. She was somebody's daughter.
Right.
Maybe a friend, a sister, and her absence will be felt.
Deeply.
Yeah.
By those who knew and loved her.
And Savon Chantay Tyler.
Yeah.
The alleged shooter. She now faces
a future.
A future defined by her actions.
Defined by the consequences of her actions.
Regardless of what happens legally, her life is changed forever.
Forever changed.
It's just a reminder that actions
have consequences.
Yeah, for ourselves and others.
Yeah, and it really highlights, I think, the importance of conflict resolution, communication, seeking help.
When things get heated.
Yeah, when emotions start to escalate.
Yeah.
We have to have those tools in place.
It's a tough lesson. But one we all got to remember.
One we all need to keep in mind.
You know, we can't just be passive observers.
Yeah, we can't.
In a world where, unfortunately, this kind of thing happens.
It's becoming so commonplace.
Yeah.
We have a responsibility, I think.
To say something.
Speak up. To intervene when possible.
Yeah.
And to really create a culture of peace and understanding.
It's a big one.
It is a big one.
So as we're wrapping up, I have a question for you.
Okay, shoot.
How do you think the rise of live streaming is changing our relationship with violence?
Ooh, that's a great question.
You know, both
as observers and participants.
Observers and, are we becoming...
Right. Are we becoming desensitized?
Desensitized,
to violence because we see it?
All the time.
All the time on our screens?
Right.
Are we more likely to intervene or less likely when we know that something is being broadcast to a wider audience?
That's a good question.
Those are great questions.
No easy answers.
No easy answers, but they're questions we need to be asking.
Yeah.
As technology continues to reshape how we experience the world.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it really is a lot to unpack.
It really is.
And it seems like with every new technology comes like
a whole new Pandora's box of
challenges.
Yeah. I guess,
knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power.
That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
The more we understand these issues, the better equipped we are to navigate this new landscape responsibly.
Yeah, as we kind of wrap things up here.
Okay.
I just keep coming back to the fact that this all started with an argument between two people.
It's wild, isn't it?
It is.
To think that,
It's as simple.
yeah, a seemingly minor conflict
Yeah.
can lead to such
Devastation.
devastating consequences.
Especially when you add in, anger and access to weapons.
Yeah. That's a real...
It's a scary combo.
It's a scary illustration of how quickly things can escalate.
It really is. And it really highlights how important it is to have conflict resolution skills,
Yeah.
communication, to know when to seek help.
When things start to get out of control.
Yeah, when emotions run high.
It makes you wonder, what if someone had intervened?
Right.
Like, stepped in.
What if there had been
Yeah.
that calming presence?
De-escalated the situation.
Exactly.
Before it went too far.
Right. It really speaks to, I think,
Yeah.
the role that bystanders can play in preventing these kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes just stepping in and being that calming presence
Yeah.
can make all the difference.
We all have a responsibility to look out for each other.
Absolutely.
Well, this has certainly given us a lot to think about.
A lot to think about.
From the legalities of live streaming to,
The bigger picture.
the bigger picture, yeah.
About
Violence and our roles
Yeah,
as witnesses in this digital world.
yeah, and what our responsibilities are.
It's an important conversation and one that needs to keep going.
Absolutely. And I think it needs to involve everyone, right?
It does.
Like we need to be talking about this with our friends and family.
Our communities, yeah.
Our communities educating ourselves and each other.
About the power of technology.
About the power and the perils.
The dangers.
Yeah. Well,
This has been
this brings us to the end
quite a deep dive.
of our deep dive today.
Yeah.
We covered a lot of ground.
We sure did.
Explored some really complex issues.
Definitely.
And hopefully got some people thinking.
Got those wheels turning.
Yeah, for sure. So keep exploring this topic.
Keep thinking about it. Yeah.
How it affects you, your life,
Your community.
your community.
For sure.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you next time.
See you on the next deep dive.